So I was able to obtain 100 cat traps, which I've given 50 to the Humane Society, 20 to FCAP. We're hanging on to 30. And then there was a opportunity to apply for a $10,000 grant, which I passed it along to the Humane Society of Piedmont for them to apply for that grant. They're currently working on that for this community cat initiative. It just didn't make sense for Animal Services to apply for the grant because then we would have to do the reporting, and since we're not going to be a primary provider for spay and neuter, it just didn't make sense that I would have to manage the grant and then ask others to provide us with the data and the stats and all that stuff. So met with Erin, Executive Director at the Humane Society last week, and then put her in contact with the organization for her to apply directly. But that grant was already reserved for this event. So
Which organization?
it's Best Friends Animal Society.
Right.
So, and also then Dr. Sheets is getting a donation of about 200, 300 vaccines that were donated to us during Hurricane Florence that we have been hanging on to, that we will not use. So again, Animal Services is not sitting on their hands. This is our way of being a active participant in this event without necessarily really, saying that we're going to be doing all these surgeries and providing the services.
So the shelter has 30 traps, or Animal Services does. Okay. Are they available like for the public to borrow
They're
potentially?
in the cardboard box right now.
In one big carbon?
I have no idea what we're going to do with them.
Okay.
They arrived last week. So.
Okay. Habitat or True Catch or?
I don't know.
Okay. I can go look at them, right?
They're in a box.
I've never seen my sort of side over traps in the whole lot.
They're in a box.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor, for all your work and enthusiasm and drive to try to help move us forward and help the animals. Jorge, you're up.
I'm up. Is Keith here? Oh, you just stepped out? All right, well then I'm just gonna jump into, the numbers. All right, so intake, this is the numbers for November, you probably, probably not gonna be able to read this, so I'll just call them out loud. Owner surrender, and what I did is I compared November 2017 to 2018. So owner surrenders were 209 in 2017, and in 2018 there were 70. Strays were 374 in 2017 compared to 293 this year. And then others are owner request euthanasias, wildlife transfer in, returns. 2017 that was 87, and this year was 57. So on the intake side of things, there's less animals coming into the shelter. Unfortunately, the animals that are coming into the shelter are still not the highly sought after animals. So for any of you who have actually walked through our adoption kennels, especially on the dog side, you tend to have just the same type of breed. So we've been working on trying to reduce the number of animals coming in, but the ones that do have to come in, unfortunately, it's just the same type of dog. And what Carl was talking about earlier about transferring, it's the same type of challenge that all other organizations have. So it's really hard to promote the same dog, one city up, or 2 states up, or all the way to the Northeast. It's a challenge. But we're working as hard as we can. So kind of going back to this, to help reduce that number of intakes on the pet retention will help us then reduce the number of animals that we have. Then on outcome, for adoptions, we had 337 adoptions in 2017, 224 in 2018. Return to owners, 59 in 2017 compared to 43 this year. Transfer outs, we had 64 in 2017 compared to 43 this year. And then others, these are missing animals, clinic out, wildlife. We had 11 in 2017 and 9 in 2018. So with the adoption numbers and with the transfer numbers, RTOs, that has to do with what we are doing with intake. Again, we're ending up with that same type of animal that's harder to place, harder to transfer, harder to adopt. So the less animals that come in that fit a highly sought after breed or type of animal, then we end up having animals stay with us a longer period of time. And then moving into euthanasia, 2017, we had 11 animals died in the shelter, and this is November, compared to 7 this year. Euthanasia, we had 184 last year. We did 55 euthanasias this year in the month of November. 2017, other euthanasias, these are dead on arrival, owner request euthanasias, or lost. We had 15 in 2017, and this year 16. So our intake numbers are going down, so are our euthanasia numbers. Unfortunately, our adoption numbers are either flat or staying the same, and that has to do with our population and the type of animals we're seeing. So then comparing January 1st all the way to November 30th, year over year, so with 2017 numbers from January 1st to November 30th, owner surrenders were 2,413 in 2017, and owner surrenders in 2018 have been 1,057. Stray animals in 2017 were 5,660 compared to 4,496 this year. And then the others, again, wildlife transfer in returns, 949 compared to 683 on intake.
That's a 20% reduction on strays.
Yeah, and we've done some things. One is the scheduled intakes that was set before I got here. We have our animal control officers doing the scanning in the field and doing the return in the field. We'll start in 2019 tracking that better, so that way we know exactly, we scanned an animal, we touched that animal, we should be counting that as a return to owner, even though we return to owners, it would be RTOF. But we're not tracking those numbers, so I can't give them credit, specific credit. I know it's being done, it's just that we have not been tracking those numbers. So then moving on to outcome for, again, the first.
So I go back if you would, I apologize.
Sure.
On the owner surrender side, any speculation as to why it's 50% less than, greater than 50% less than what it was? Is that anything that's going on in terms of how you're handling a client when they come in wanting to?
I mean, we're definitely talking to folks a lot more, right? We're talking to them on the phone to get that scheduled. We're talking to them when they get on the line. But one thing that we're not doing a good job, and I think this is where Brenda and Donna and others need to play a role, is we can say that we've done that reduction in intake, but is there an increase in your intake? And unless we're really comparing the numbers community-wide, we don't know if we're having an impact.
Right.
Because what we are doing might be impacting another organization a different way. So we need to figure out a way is everyone that has a rescue organization or, like the SPCA of the Triad that is actually housing animals within Guilford County, what do those numbers look like? And what, just to really have a true sense of what we're doing, is it really making a positive impact, or is it in fact impacting someone else in a negative way, meaning that their intake numbers are increasing? But unless we have those numbers in front of us as a community to compare those numbers, it's hard for me to say, because we can say, well, we would like to schedule an appointment a week off and somebody else has rehomed an animal, but what does that mean? Did I give it to a friend, or did I give that animal to the SPCA of the Triad? And their numbers might be, affected.
If we can identify those groups, perhaps on a quarterly basis, starting in 2019, we can put together the same type of sheet we're using in estimate that we went to complete that, because it would help us. Because all of us are, I would think, would be interested in measuring the success of some of the initiatives we've got going. If it takes a total inclusive set of numbers to do that, we ought to try to put them together.
Right, and especially when we're talking about pet retention and the resources out in the community, are we gonna be giving out the same resources, same information for that person, whether they go to one organization before they end up going to animal services? So that's something that we would need to look at if we're really trying to determine if we're making an impact.
But nevertheless, those are substantial improvements.
Yeah,
The intake.
there's definitely a decline in the intake numbers.
Jorge, so I have a question.
Sure.
Do you know whether these reductions are across the board pretty equal among dogs and cats, or are the reductions more, you know what I mean? Are there more dogs or more cats that the
The
numbers have gone
reduction is
down?
more on the dog side than on the cat side.
The reduction is more
more
on the dog side than the cat side?
Yes, yes. Especially when we have kitten season and we have the litters of kittens coming in, that's when we tend to see the spike of, it's just kind of the similar numbers coming in. That's why these community cat initiatives are so important to help us decrease those kind of litters of intakes. We see more cat litter intakes than we do puppy litter.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
then on the outcome, for adoptions in 2017, to the end of November 30th, it was 4,026 compared to 3,400 this year. Return to
I'm
owners,
sorry, what were the numbers again?
4,026
Uh-huh.
for 2017 and 3,400 this year. Return to owners, 757.
As a percentage, they actually increased.
If
Well, I was
you're
trying
looking
to
at
look
the,
at-
if
I
you're
was
looking
trying to
at
look
the
at
intake,
that just is a case where raw numbers can really, you have to be careful. Is a percentage of intake. And I'm just
correct.
looking at
Look at it,
straights.
if you compare it to the intakes,
Right.
yes, yes. So,
I'll
return,
help you get some numbers.
sorry.
No, that's good.
Yeah, so the return to owner in 2017 was 757 compared to 744 this year. Transfers, 741 in 2017 compared to 817 this year. And then the others, which is Clinic Alp and Wildlife and some missing animals here and there, 261 in 2017 and 113 this year. Then going to euthanasia, animals that died under our care in 2017 were 389 compared to 91 this year. Euthanasia last year was 2,269 compared to 1,117 this year. And then others, dead on arrival, on a request euthanasia is lost 187 in 2017 compared to 180 this year.
Roy, can I ask a question about the dive? If say very young kittens die in foster care, does that get included there
Yes,
or not?
ma'am.
It does.
If they're under our care, yeah.
Thank you.
So that does reflect a substantial reduction when you consider as percentages of brought in. Just more than 50%, our intake was down by 20%. It's not good, but the
No,
point is,
no.
we are on the right trends. If you all recall, and if the citizens recall, if you remember the numbers even from 16 to 17, we saw some substantial improvement. So if we went back and looked at 3 years, 3 or 4 years, you'd see that the Guilford County Animal Services and really just the whole community, again, no one's declaring any victories at all here because it's clearly it's still a huge concern. But what we have seen is steady improvement since the county
Right.
took responsibility for the shelter.
Yeah, but that goes back to what I was saying. I would like for us to work together on seeing what those numbers are community-wide.
Right.
To
And I
see
agree.
if whatever we're trying or whatever we're changing, whatever programs we're implementing, are they impacting others in different ways? And then do we need to look at that as a broader picture,
Sure.
of how it affects our community as a whole and not just us? We look good, but then others might be struggling. So I think, and again, we can look into that down the road.
We've taken almost 700 animals this week,
Is that an increase from, it is?
and the last adoption figures I looked at was like, I think like 623, because I think we've got 40 some in foster care.
So it would be good to